Are you ready for 873 obvious hard things you need to do to master the guitar? No? Me neither. But if you're like me, you're tired of all the 3 easy hacks, 2 simple tips videos that make it sound like guitar is going to be really easy, when we all know it's at least a little bit hard, and certainly sometimes it is. Today, I'm breaking down for you what mastery is, if it's really necessary, and if it's necessary for you. Today, you're going to leave with some mental frameworks and actionable steps that you can take on your guitar journey so that you can have more fun playing for the people you love. Let's get into it. When I sit down with a student who's just starting out, one of the things they usually tell me is they want to master a certain part of the instrument. Acoustic playing, rhythm, blues, certain types of soloing. But the truth is, most of the guitar players and musicians I know that I gig with on a regular basis aren't masters of the instrument. They're competent at a very small set of skills that get them the gigs they play. I'm not assuming that you want to play gigs or even that you should, but this applies just the same to playing around the campfire or going to an open jam or open mic. I want you to imagine something with me. You're sitting around the campfire with 5 or 6 of your friends and somebody breaks out an old guitar and they start strumming a song that everybody knows, and you're singing along and laughing and everybody's having a great time. And your buddy goes to pass you the guitar. But you feel like, maybe I'm just not ready. Maybe that song's not there and not quite good enough. And so you kind of wave him off and pass it to the next person. How many times do you pass that guitar off? How many campfires do you not lead the sing-along on? How long do you keep the music inside of you instead of sharing it with other people? And this gets to my second point. The idea that we need to master something is a defense mechanism. And it's a defense mechanism that's hurting us in 2 ways. The first way this hurts us is it keeps us being bedroom guitar players. We think we have to master something. We have to be able to play it perfectly, or at least almost perfectly, before we bring it out and play it for other people, before we share it with our family and with our friends. And it keeps guitar this isolating activity instead of this connective activity. The music that has connected us to ourselves for so long, instead of connecting us with other people who are like us, who feel those same things, and an opportunity for connection, it keeps us separate. It keeps us feeling isolated because we're not there yet. The second way it keeps us isolated is if we think we have to have the perfect practice routine and play things perfectly. It actually helps us avoid practice because practice inevitably isn't perfect. I tell my students all the time, when you hit 85%, that's when you speed up the metronome. The goal I set is 85% for moving on. And I think we have this mentality that, well, I got to be at 98%, 99, 100% before I can keep going. But that's just a way to keep us spinning in a circle, doing the same things over and over again, because we don't have to risk making mistakes. But the truth is, music and art in general are all about taking risks. What even is mastery? I want you to do this thought experiment with me. Imagine you go on a hike and you start off and you're on a flat, nice trail. And it's paved and it's great. And imagine you make a little bend in the road and the pavement starts to turn to gravel and you can see it turns to dirt in the distance and this path starts to go up. You're going up this mountain that you didn't realize, and every moment, every minute you're realizing, I'm just going up, and as you look out in the distance, the mountain you're climbing gets higher, and you kind of don't pay attention to it for 10 or so minutes, and you look up again, and somehow the mountain seems bigger and steeper. I like to think of learning music this way. There's so much music. Guitar is not an instrument that we really master. I mean, if you look at somebody like Tommy Emmanuel, who is one of the best players ever, he's incredible. He's not going to sound like John Mayer. We develop our own technique and our own way of interfacing with the instrument. It's not about mastery, it's about self-expression. And that mountain we're climbing in this hiking metaphor is all the things that we want to learn on guitar. The day you start, you only know about 8 chords maybe that you want to learn. But sometime around your first year, you realize you'll never learn all the chords. And the amount of songs that you feel like you can learn goes from maybe 1 to 3 to all of a sudden There's 100 songs you could learn, but how do you pick? There's only so much practice time. We don't ever get to the top of the mountain, but we get to blaze our own trail up that mountain. And that's what's so beautiful about guitar. So how do we blaze our own trail up this mountain that is learning the guitar? And the way that I think about it is, if you're a photographer, you gotta take pictures. If you're a painter, you gotta paint. If you're a guitar player, you gotta play songs. So there was a professor at a college who did this experiment. He had a photography class, and all the students came in, and he divided them up, and he said, group A, your job is to take one picture and turn it in, and it's gotta be the best picture it can be. And group B, I'm just grading you on how many pictures you take. The more you take, the higher your grade. And the interesting thing is group B ended up having the best pictures anyway, even though their goal was only quantity. And the reason is they were given permission to make mistakes, to experiment with lighting, to do terrible work and turn it in to get feedback. Where the other group was just trying to get the one perfect picture. Quantity leads to quality, especially in an artistic endeavor, and especially in something like playing the guitar. No matter how hard you try, no matter how slowly you practice, no matter how much you break up every little bit of a song, until you've played that song all the way through 10, 20, 100 times, you aren't going to play it as well as you can. Don't let the idea that you have to be a master stop you from strumming songs for your daughter before bed, singing around the campfire, or volunteering at church. We learn best by doing, and whether you're out there doing it well, or it could be better, you're taking steps towards becoming the guitar player you can be. And the world needs you and your music. If you're ready to take a big step towards your guitar goals, join me in my free community, Gateway to Guitar, at school.com/guitar. That's school with a K. I'll leave a link down below. It's a community of guitar players who are all getting better imperfectly, who are learning songs and sharing tips, and I'm giving feedback and walking you through the guitar journey. I have a complete course in there that teaches you how to learn a song by teaching you a song, step by step, the way that I do with students when I'm one-on-one. We would love to see you in there, and make sure you say hi when you get in. Again, that's schoolwithak.com/guitar.